What's not to love about Grace Life? The people, the fellowship, the worship, all the small groups. I have a bigger family here than I do in my biological family. And that's what I love about Grace Life.
Oh, so many things. I would say all the wonderful people.
I mean, honestly, the beginning of Grace Life, probably I have to talk about like what I went through personally. I was in traveling music and speaking ministry for years, you know that. And in 2001, I went through a very dark time in my life where I went through spiritual burnout and depression, and it was really a result of a lot of the legalism that was in my life. And it was at that time that I had what I call a grace conversion. You know, as I was in that dark valley, I began to study Romans 8 and Galatians 5 with just a ferocious appetite to learn more about the grace of God. And it was during that time that God's grace just, it rescued me and it saved me. And it became everything. I mean, I don't know, like I had heard about grace before and I probably could have said a few things about it, but it wasn't the engine of my heart. It wasn't central in my life. And through that whole process, it became the only thing that was important to me, and everything flowed out from that. You know, the music I wrote, the sermons I preached. And so I became, I think, a gospel-centered person, which to me means I really learned that the big E on the eye chart is the gospel, and that needs to be central in my thinking and my preaching. And I just began to dream during that time about starting a community under grace. That's how I would say it. Wouldn't it be amazing if we had a church community that we were just feasting on this stuff all the time, and you know, we were a gospel-centered community and just building up one another in grace, in theology and culture. And so in 2010, we began to get serious about that, and I was looking for a movement to connect with that I felt like shared our theological convictions and our gospel centrality. And Acts 29 had planted a church here in Rochester with Kevin Maloney, and I connected with him, and he and I became good friends, and they became a big supporter of our church plant here in Avon as we joined the Acts 29 movement. And early on, I think we kept it simple. Like the model of Grace Life was Acts 2:42. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to fellowship, breaking of bread, and prayer, so that our church family and our church community wouldn't simply be like a movie theater experience, you know, where if you go to a movie, you're surrounded by people and you might enjoy the movie a lot, but you don't have any connection with the people next to you. You might walk out and go, great movie. I don't know who I was sitting next to. I don't know anything about them, but it was a great movie. We didn't want church to be like that, where you're having enjoying what you're seeing on a Sunday and then having no family connection with people next to you. We felt like the gospel, the implications of the gospel imply and demand that we grow toward one another. So yes, the apostles' teaching, that's the gospel. Breaking of bread, fellowship, and prayer, man, there's a togetherness there. So early on, we really started with missional community and built toward the Sunday gathering, where actually for the first season, maybe 6 to 9 months, we had weekly groups. We had 3 groups meeting in 3 different areas, and then we only had a Sunday service once a month. And so the idea was that was like a celebration service that was a culmination of our groups gathering in different locations throughout the week. And it was wonderful. And we really grew in relationship with one another and grew toward that Sunday gathering. But then there began to be a demand for, man, we want to meet on Sundays every week. And it was at that time that we were actually meeting in the community center across the street in that housing development. And then we moved into Avon Wesleyan on Sunday nights. We were there for a couple of years, I think. And the church grew, and we went through all the process and evolution of growing as a church to toddler stage and developing leadership and evangelism, and it was a wonderful time. Eventually, we ended up in the daycare center, the Muir's Daycare Center, and then we ended up here in this location here in the plaza. And the church, within the first year that we moved in the plaza, the church doubled in size. But it was really a wonderful time. We saw a lot of new faces, a lot of people come to Christ. One story that comes to mind is a father and son came, and I don't know if the son had ever been in church, and the father hadn't been in church in years. And the father came up to me after I preached, and he said, what you preached on today, the text you preached on, was the same text that I heard preached on the last time I was in church, like 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was. It was almost like the Lord just picked up with him where he left off, and to him it was very significant. And his son, not long after that, it wasn't that same week, but not long after that, came up to me and he said, Pastor Derek, I had a dream. Could you tell me what it means? Well, tell me about it. I was standing on a bridge over this fiery lake that was beneath me, and I was like in danger, and I was afraid I was going to fall over the edge, and I was terrified, and I was alone. And all of a sudden, I turned and I saw you, and when I saw you, I felt comforted, and I felt like you were going to help me. What does it mean? I'm like, well, let me tell you the good news of the gospel, and so to see, the Holy Spirit moving in the hearts and the lives of people, and seeing God grow the church, the chief shepherd grow the church. In some ways, I'm just another sheep, and I'm an under shepherd. But this church was my church too. It's my family's church too, and it became a really important part of my family and their discipleship growing, and not just being discipled by my wife Heidi and I, but also our children being in a discipling community where we're in groups where they're multi-generational groups where they're hearing from the elderly, and the elderly are hearing from them talk about their experiences and talk about the gospel, and just to see that discipleship community come together, it was very healthy for them. And we now treasure that time that they had here at GraceLife as well. So yeah, it was a long journey, and finally, I remember in 2019, I turned to Heidi Joe during a Sunday gathering, and just with all that God was doing, and I said, Heidi, I don't mean to be morbid, but I could die and the church would be fine. And she goes, I know it would. We'd seen the church mature. It was around that time that you came along and other elders were established. And in 2020, we didn't realize it, but the Lord was preparing our hearts to move on, which was not a strange thought, because the end of everything that we were doing at GraceLife was multiplication. Believers that make more believers, groups that make more groups, leaders that develop more leaders, and eventually churches that make more churches. And so we felt a call to go and plant again. And you and the body here, it was painful for all of us, but also it was consistent with the DNA that God had put into us as a church family to multiply. And so it's been a joy in Tennessee, but we miss you guys, and GraceLife will always have a very special place, and the people at GraceLife will always have a very special place in our hearts. This church family is a treasure to us, and we're grateful for our time here.
I would say what I love most about the church is the community and how welcoming it has been to our family and the wonderful friendships you did. The wonderful friendships we formed and just being able to encourage one another in our walks with the Lord. And the good ideas.
I love the people most, and that we have several people who give high quality hugs.
And I can remember pulling into the community center thinking, okay, this is a church in a building, but my whole life, excuse me, I've always gone to traditional churches with steeples and large gatherings, and I was in the parking lot thinking, oh boy, what's this church going to be like? And we go inside, and everybody was so friendly and welcome us with open arms. And Derek gave a awesome message and sermon that day, and we continued to go back. From there, went to, let me look at this again, we went to the Wesleyan Church, then to Sweetheart's Bakery, and then to a daycare center, and then to here. And it was either at Sweetheart's Bakery or the daycare center that one of his messages really impressed me. You know, it's very difficult. We don't understand how difficult it is to start a church, and the sacrifices and dedication that goes into it, and the ups and downs. Just like we were looking for a church, other people are looking for churches. So as it started, the attendance fluctuated up and down. And this particular day, we walk in and there was less than 5 of us in the church. Attendance had dropped quite a bit as people are searching to find the church they're comfortable with. And I remember looking over at Derek. He looked a little forlorn, he'd tell you that. And he turned to his family and to his staff, and he said, listen, let's not concentrate on how many we have here in attendance, the numbers. Let's concentrate on who is here. Then he gave the message, and he gave the message like there was 500 people attending. It was awesome. He was as dynamic as he always is when he gives a message. And I just thought how brave that was of him, you know, to put on that face and give a message to us like there was 500 people listening to him. So as time goes on, of course, he has to pass the torch. He passes it on to the elders and to Caleb here. And I think I'd like to be a fly on the wall when he talked to them that day. I can probably see him turning around to Caleb saying, oh, Caleb, would you hold this for a minute? Would you hold this torch for a minute? And then he goes to explain that he's going to have to leave and go to Virginia and start Tennessee and start another church. And so Caleb's holding this torch and goes home with it, walks through the door and sees Chanel, and Chanel turns around and, Caleb, you're holding a torch. Yeah, I am. She probably says something like, doesn't look like a torch from Lord of the Rings, it's pretty big. He goes, yeah, it is. We need to talk about that. And he shared that torch with the elders, brings it into the church, and they light up the church. The torch just lights up the church. And when they open the Bible and they read the scriptures, it just gets brighter, and the church just thrives from the messages and the services that these gentlemen give to the church. It's awesome. It kind of reminds me of World War II statue picture when the troops are helping raise the flag and support the flag. Semblance of courage, bravery, sacrifice for a purpose. And that's what happens really at our church. Because when they come in with the torch and they set it in the stand, you're the stand. The church is the stand. We stand with them, by them, and they need us there. We come and go. Other people take our place and help hold up this torch. The church, you are the warriors, just like the soldiers holding up that flag in World War II. You are the warriors that help keep this church going, help keep it striving, and keep us together. And that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating the fact that God has blessed us with being able to keep this church alive for 15 years plus, and celebrate that today with joy and thanksgiving.
From Donna Cole. A trip to the Avon Library resulted in an unscheduled meeting with an old friend from my past who informed me of a new church that had started up in Avon and was meeting for worship services at Avon Commons. Her nephew was involved and I was familiar with him. I hadn't attended church regularly in quite a few years since giving up attendance at a previous church. The following Sunday, I set off to Avon Commons, where I was thrilled to hear the gospel preached by a charismatic young man who also sang praises to our Lord with his guitar, his wife's flawless piano playing and voice. I was invited to their home for brunch, where I met their beautiful family, Grace, Joy, Essie, Reese, and little Audrey, who was perhaps 3 years old and asked me, "Want to see my womb?" As I left, I shared a scripture with Derek that I had prayed over for my children when they were little. May our sons in their youth be as plants full grown, our daughters as corner pillars cut for the structure of a palace. The next move was to the Wesleyan Church on Genesee Street in Avon, where worship took place Sunday evenings, and it was within walking distance from where I lived on Genesee Street. Several different leaders would alternate presenting the message, Derek Lewandowski, Mark Scorsone, and others, each with their own style and format, but each devoted to presenting the scriptures unadulterated. My eldest grandson was living with us at that time while attending SUNY Geneseo, and it was wonderful having him attend church with me. GraceLifers then moved services to Brenda Muir's child care facility on Clinton Street in Avon. My memories: it was crowded, awkwardly long, and narrow. Parking was a bit of a problem, and I remember meeting John and Bridget Paddock and 3 of their children for the first time. Even though the facility wasn't ideal, Brenda's generosity far outweighed any inconvenience and provided the platform that launched us to where we find ourselves worshiping now. Once established here, our numbers began to expand, but then Derek heard God's call to move to Clarksville for another church planting. That decision fell bittersweet upon my ears, but I knew Jehovah Jireh would provide, and did he ever. Caleb and Chanel showed up from Baton Rouge. Mike and Nancy traveled across the continent to be near his son's family, and so many others have stepped into leadership positions. God has been so faithful. He transferred my head knowledge of him to my heart nearly 50 years ago, and when my faith journey slowed, he provided a gospel-centered church right here in my hometown. I have witnessed its growth, found delightful friendships, been encouraged through fellowship, received prayerful and practical support during a bout with breast cancer, listened to gospel-centered teaching, and been led in worship by one of the Lord's best. I'm ever so grateful for my church family. Happy anniversary, Grace Life.
I'm Aaron Heap. This is my wife Bridget, and we've been going to GraceLife for 15 years now. At one point, we were going to Grace Road, and Kevin Maloney came to us and said, "Hey, there's this guy named Derek Lewandowski that is starting a church in Avon, and maybe you should go help him out and help him get started." And so we were told that Derek had kind of a charismatic background. And so we were terrified. So we talked to our friends John and Cheryl Von Buren and said, "Hey, go check it out. Make sure it's safe for us." So they went a month before us. They started coming to GraceLife a month before us, and they said, "Hey, the people there, they seem pretty normal. So it'll be safe for you to attend." And so we did. We came when they were just meeting once a month at the Avon Commons. And it was great. We really enjoyed it, and we moved to different places over the years. And at one point we met at the Avon Wesleyan Church on Saturday nights, We met at a Sweetheart's Bakery on Sunday mornings. We met at a daycare center on Sunday mornings, eventually settling here at an old video store rental place. So the locations and the teaching and the different teachers have changed a lot over the years, but there was one common thread through it all, and that was all the teaching was centered on grace, and the fact that a church called GraceLife would actually preach a life of grace was a beautiful thing, and that was the one consistent thing through all of the church leaders from the beginning with Derek Lewandowski and Mark Scorsone to now with Caleb and Mike, and it's just been a wonderful experience to be here for 15 years. Early on in our time, we decided to become a member. We went to the membership class with Derek and Mark. Part of that was so we could understand where they were coming from, but part of it was because Bridget also wanted to grill them and to make sure that they had the right theology. And it went so well that they actually asked Bridget to be the administrative assistant for the church, and she served in that role for probably about 3 years. And I'll let you say a little bit about that.
Yes, I did grill Derek. I'm sure he will confirm that story. And I have to say, at least for me, the thing that really touched my heart was just the way that Derek explained what we believe, that there are certain things that are closed-handed issues and certain things that are open-handed issues. And for me, I thought that's a wonderful way to explain it. The gospel is just something that is a closed-handed issue. Whereas a lot of the other theology, we can agree to disagree. And I loved that philosophy that he had. And so I felt very comfortable when we started coming here that even if there were things that we weren't certain about or that we disagreed on, that as believers in Christ, we could work through it because we kind of had that same philosophy. So I absolutely loved that. But yeah, actually, there were some very special moments that I missed out on because of serving at GraceLife. So I actually, I had Claire when I was the administrative assistant, and Aaron had to be home with her, watching her while I was in the meetings, and Aaron knew that he was only supposed to call me when it was an emergency. So here I am in this meeting with Derek and some other people, and my phone's ringing and it's Aaron, and I'm freaking out because he's got Claire and she's just a few weeks old. And so I excuse myself and I run out. And then Aaron would tell me something special that she did. Oh, she just said gaga goo goo. And I'm like, honey, you can't interrupt these meetings for this. And this happened so many times. Then several months later or whatever, I'd get another one of these phone calls. Derek, I'm so sorry. I gotta go. It's it's Claire, it's Aaron. Oh, she just said her first word. She said dada. Oh, okay. So then the one that really got me was I missed her first steps too. Got that phone call. And so anyway, GraceLife has always been very special to us. I was very thankful that I could serve. I guess it gave Aaron the opportunity to get to see all of Claire's firsts, and it certainly made for some funny stories. But yes, we've absolutely loved it here. I know with the changes, once Derek ended up moving out to Tennessee, that was hard for a lot of people, just because he is such an amazing preacher. But I think one of the things that I just fell in love with even more so as we stayed at GraceLife after that was just the people. And just the fellowship that we have and just the grace that is being taught, just that the gospel is so important and it's actually life transforming. I am just so thankful, especially for just the amazing leadership that we have here, just the group of guys that are here that support each other, they love each other, and they really are here to serve. And I think that has been one of the things that has just been a blessing to me as we've been here through the years.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful 15 years.
My favorite part about Grace Life is definitely the fellowship. I love all the groups and all the opportunities to get together, all the people that we have here from all walks of life. It's definitely my favorite part.
Getting together with the men at Man Cave and the spiritual strength that I gained from that.
I would say my favorite thing is when we get together as a group on Sundays and we all get to sing together. That's my favorite thing.
But I love this building. I love this people. You are my family.
The fellowship at Man Cave on Saturday mornings. Walking in and everybody just smiles and says, "Hey, brother, welcome." And you just feel the embrace of the Lord. And that brotherhood fellowship, I just enjoy that so much. That's one of the highlights for me at GraceLife.
Hey, I love everything about GraceLife. Mostly the people, all the love and all the fun. It is super here, but most of all, Jesus, because His presence is here, filling our lives. Yeah, that's probably the best thing I like about it. But I like the food too. I like it when we get together, when we all share each other joys and sorrows and all the stuff that goes on in our lives. It just makes it really special.
That I always have something to be a part of. I'm never left out, and there's always something to do.
Well, if I had to pick one thing, it's my family. And how much they love me and I love them. And they love God.
The love that the people share with everybody here. That was the first thing that came to me when I first came, is the love shared with everybody.
What is my favorite part of GraceLife Church? Well, being part of a church family where the good news of Jesus is at the center of all we do. I love watching the body love and serve one another and being on the receiving that myself as well and for my family. You know, it reminds me of what Paul tells the Thessalonians. He says, concerning brotherly love, you have no need for anyone to write to you, because God has taught you to love one another. And then he encourages them, he urges them to do that more and more. And I just love how the Holy Spirit in his people is teaching us to love one another. And then we get to urge each other on in that together. I'm so grateful to serve, to teach, to make disciples, and be discipled with this family that we call GraceLife. And that name is no accident either. GraceLife really is a place where the grace of God has transformed our lives and continues to transform our lives. And so it's such a joy to be part of this family, my brothers, my sisters, all of us together to be a part of this. Happy 15th anniversary, GraceLife. And Lord willing, here's to 15, 20, 30 more, who knows? Only the Lord does.